Inside Line Football with head football coach Tim Clifton, sponsored by Mountain Credit Union. Of course, Mountain Credit Union with 7 locations to serve you in Western North Carolina. Coach, man, it's time for football, time to kick it off Saturday, one of my favorite times of the year.
Well, I'm glad you're excited about it, man. After the last couple of days of practice, I think we need another month.
We'll talk about summer camp. It's not been as hot as usual, really, as far as all around, but the heat on the field has been really hectic with a lot of guys trying out for some heavy-duty spots.
Yeah, I think we've got through a camp that the weather's been so mild. Mm-hmm. In fact, it really scares us that it's been so mild that we haven't practiced in a lot of heat. Right. And eventually what will happen is we're going to play in some heat. And I think it would have a chance to affect us right now because we've tried to stay on the turf out here where it's a little warmer to get the heat. But we've had some good practices. I think today was a better practice than we had last Thursday and Friday.
You've been through this a long time, not trying to call you old. I'm just saying you've seen a lot of camps. What do you think is one of the biggest changes as far as summer camps? You talk about the heat. Do you stay more concerned about heat-related illnesses or injuries more? Is it a situation where technology has overcome hard work sometimes almost?
Well, they've changed the way you do camp now. The NCAA has, 5, 10, seems like 100 years. You can go as many times as you wanted. We used to practice 3 times a day. The NCAA has stepped in about 5 years ago and changed the routine. So now we can only go 1 time a day for 5 days. And then you can go 2-1, 2-1. When you go 2 practices, you got to go 1 the next day. Right. So the NCAA has really gotten involved in how you practice. And because of that involvement, I don't worry about them near as much as I did in the past.
Saturday night, clicked on television, was watching Georgia and Clemson play, saw Mark Richt on over there, and it finally hit me. I wish I had another son, but for the first time in a long time, we don't have him throwing the ball. That was one of your concerns coming in. How has that sort of worked itself out? Or is there a clear-cut guy now?
John did a great job for us for 4 years, and led this football team for 4 years. And having John and then Jonas at the time took care of a lot of offensive issues that you would have. But going into camp, we were looking for a guy, and it's Monday before the first game on Saturday, and we're still looking for that guy. And I think that's been the $1 million question around here.
Doesn't have any eligibility left, right?
No one that we could use. David Riggins tried to get it out of me today, and he couldn't get it out of me.
Okay.
So it's not a clear-cut picture yet of who that guy's going to be.
Well, let's talk about some of the other spots. O-line was strong last year with some guys who got hurt. Defense has always been really strong, but you lost some key guys last year. Talk about the team and where you've seen the most improvement.
Well, I think I'm a little bit surprised at linebacker we lost Rudy Cabral.
Right.
And we had Jasper coming back, Jasper Mason, who's really been a really good linebacker for us over the years, and Sammy Siasi coming back, and we've had some other guys step in. A junior college transfer, Chamarcus Pittard, has stepped in at a Mike linebacker and really had a good fall camp. And Ricky Hawks is come in as a freshman and made some headway. And John L. Tate's an upperclassman that's been a linebacker. And then on the defensive line, you got Troy Harris back, who was all conference last year, and John Maxey, who was injured a year ago, is back, and LaMarcus Dickling is back, and Rashad Simmons and Christian Davis. Those guys have had good fall camps. And on the offensive line, we really got 5 guys coming back that played last year, but they haven't practiced all together yet. It's been a crazy camp, and we've had a lot of sickness and viruses that has went through the team, and then we've had some injuries, and so today was the first time since the day we started on the 15th that we had our whole offensive line together. Denzel Good's been out some, and we finally got him back, and Harp is back at center, and we've been fortunate that we got Dwyer back at guard, and
small guy.
Yeah, he's a small guy, and then Richard Taylor's back at tackle, and then the guy you're about to interview here, Nick Allison, is back at guard. So we've got that nucleus back. So we've got to somehow get all those pistons firing at the same time. We hadn't had a chance to have them together and make them fire yet.
Every time I ask you this question, at the end of the show or end of the interview, you talk about special teams. How's that this year?
I think Michael Ashley will do a great job punting for us. Yuriko's had a real good fall camp, and
B.J. Richmond finally too old, huh?
he's finally too old.
We almost passed you.
Yeah, he got close. He punted until he was about 40. He and George Blandon, they go back together, and Isaac Edwards has stepped in as a snapper for us. So, we've made some headway there, and I think that will be critical for us in the first game.
Well, let's talk about the Southland Conference real quick first. The Mars Hill Lions were picked fourth in the Southland Conference behind Carson Newman, LR, and Wingate. Was that sort of where you thought you'd be to start the season?
Yeah, I'm not surprised where they put us and where they voted us. Voting and putting you there is different,
right.
As I always say, and they still got to put us there. 2 years ago, we were next to last, and we won it. So wherever they put you, it really doesn't matter. It's where you end up. But
second last year, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's where I thought we might fall in the top 4 right there. Just didn't know what range we would fall in, but all that is before the ball's ever kicked off.
That's right. Well, you're watching Inside Line Football with head football coach Tim Clifton, presented by Mountain Credit Union. When we come back, we'll have our player interviews. We've got Nick Allison, offensive lineman from Asheville, North Carolina, and of course Troy Harris, preseason All-American from Orlando, Florida. When we come back on Inside Line Football.
Go ahead.
All right, we're back here on Inside Line Football with head football coach Tim Clifton, and television always says they add 10 pounds. To me, it adds 10 pounds. To him, it adds about 50 pounds of muscle. So it's a very big difference, because I feel like a little guy right here, and I thought I was a big guy. So let's talk to Nick Allison, offensive lineman from Asheville, North Carolina. And Coach, talking about the offensive line. You've had some injuries. You've had some, he said really this afternoon was the first time you'd really all been together. Talk about the offensive line and how you feel like it has come through so far.
I actually think it's been pretty good. I think all those injuries and people being out have given younger guys a chance to step up and get more reps, which is always good to have depth. But it's definitely nice to have all the guys back. Like having Denzel back beside me is definitely nice.
Another small guy.
Yep, another small guy.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of small guys. Let's talk about the offensive line. I've always wondered this. Being a guy who calls y'all's games, I try to give y'all as much props as possible, especially during the Jonas Randolph years, because y'all are just I wear them out. But you don't get any glory, really. And you don't get to score a touchdown. You don't see your stats. What makes an offensive lineman tick? What makes you want to go to the next play and win that play? I know you've thought about it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the guys on the team will say it's when someone steps on my foot. But I hate that. But really, I guess if you miss a block, then you're definitely fired up for the next play, trying to make up for that. But really, just in general, as an offensive lineman, you gotta have that attitude.
You were a Southland Conference all preseason. Your thoughts about that? Has it affected you at all, or has it made you work harder?
Yeah, I think it has. Or I really try not to think about stuff like that, because it's really not good honor, like great honor and stuff. But it still is preseason.
Right.
I haven't done anything this season yet, so I need to make sure I live up to that hype, I guess.
Right. Our team's ranked or picked fourth in the Southland Conference behind some really good teams. Missed the playoffs just barely last year. What are your thoughts on this team coming through spring practice, now summer camp? It's finally over. You're getting ready for a game Saturday. What are your thoughts on this team and where it can really be?
Oh, I have a lot of optimism for our team this year. You know, we got a really good group of guys on both sides of the ball, and I think once we get a chance to get out there, start playing, I think we're just going to gel together and just get a routine going, like get a rhythm going.
So, kickoff's going to happen on Saturday, 1 o'clock. What's going to be your first thought?
I'm ready to get out there and hit somebody.
All right, it's good to see him again. Nick Allison from Asheville, North Carolina. He's doing some important stuff right now. He's going to class. So we'll get him on to class, and we'll get Troy Harris in here in just a second. Thanks, man.
Thank you.